Harlan's through, he might go for it, still going, trying to barge his way through, goes to the shot, what a goal!
Arriving, Rian O'Neill from an almost impossible angle, and that's the rousing score Armagh were looking for.
Conor Turbin kicks this one in on it, absolutely superb.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the Sideline Eye podcast. We're after witnessing Armagh hammering Derry here in Celtic Park. I'm delighted to be joined by Devenney, and we're also going to hear from Irish News journalist Cahair O'Kane as well at the end of the podcast too. So Brendan, I suppose immediately after the game, sum up what you've seen here. It was one-sided.
Yeah, not what we expected. Certainly coming into it, we were wondering, which team had kind of regrouped from, I suppose, a couple of tough defeats. I did tip Armagh before the game, particularly because I thought their squad was stronger and I thought it might come down to that later on, but little did we know, goals were going to be the difference, and Armagh could have 7, 8, 9 goals today. Such was the dominance, and it was a wee bit like some of the play against Donegal, where if it went long or Armagh got a turnover, Derry were completely wide open. I couldn't believe Armagh were probably thinking how easy it was. The energy seemed to be gone from Derry. I'm not taking anything away from Armagh. They were brilliant at what they did. Their defensive shape was solid, and when they broke with pace. But I just can't believe how open Derry was. Every modern team now plays a certain defensive block, and then they work from that. Whereas Derry just didn't seem to be anything of either. And no pre-game there. Of course, McKinless was suspended. McAvoy didn't make it. Obviously McGrugan out, and their play the last few years often came from the half back line. But even though that was a huge loss to them, you think of how Rodgers and Glass were playing earlier in the year, and McGuigan and all these, everybody just seems so flat. Now, the other way, Armagh, I think when you look at it, Armagh are still really hungry for success. And, I thought I suppose some of the rhetoric and analysing after the Ulster final was out of order in terms of, how they acquitted themselves and how they played in that game. And so I always thought, listen, this Armagh team, why wouldn't they come back? Why wouldn't they chase a big game in Croke Park again, and let's see where we can take it? And you've seen that from Armagh today. They were a hungry team. They still had the energy. And I thought again the bench they on, particularly, Alexa Grimley coming in at midfield with Creeley, allowed Rain to play a bit of a free role, and, so much strength and power and height advantage over Derry. And I thought it was a brilliant performance from Armagh. Thoroughly deserved the victory.
And Brendan, just you mentioned Niall Grimley, I think that was his first minutes he's actually got this season. No league action, no championship action to the day. Thrown in at the deep end, I suppose, in against Rodgers and Glass, but he really stepped up and he really performed today.
Yeah, and I suppose that's the thing when you look at these games that are coming very quick. And obviously pre-game, you obviously had the injury to Merlin and Mackin, and you thought how much of that hammer, because both players, your central players, and they're integral to the team. But then again, particularly defensively, I suppose you have numbers in the round there, so it was probably more Merlin and that platform that he gives inside. But because you were on the break, it didn't matter, because the pace you were breaking at, Turbot was flying inside, and I think it might have been as much as 2-8 came from turnovers. So when Armagh ripped the ball from Derry and they broke, the times it was 3-1s, 5-2s, and things like that. And you're like, what are we watching here? So in many ways, it was a brilliant game for Armagh in terms of confidence. So you look at it now, Armagh of Galway. Who would bet against Armagh now? Top of the group, you're going in then, you're avoiding the big teams. And I said this after the thing, I said, why would this Armagh team, people saying, they'll be gone after that, and after Ulster final. I was thinking, well, wait, this team wants to get somewhere. It still has an opportunity. There's loads of talent. Why would they go after the All-Ireland series? And that's what you're seeing there. I think Armagh are back. That's a dangerous team. Sticky one, Westmeath. If you look at Galway today, a late goal just to win it. There's no reason why in a neutral venue Armagh can't beat them, top the group. And then there's very little sides I think ahead of that Armagh squad currently.
And Brendan, talked to Gerard O'Kane on the preview show during the week, and we were sort of talking about Armagh's spread of scores, and it was something similar today. I think Barry Cambridge come up and fisted a point. Ben Creeley scored, both midfielders scored, and the forward line obviously 3-17 I think was the final score. So huge scoring tallies for Armagh today, and a lot of players getting in on the action too.
Yeah, and of course Blaine Hughes will want you to say here, no goals, and that's the thing. If you look at even Donegal yesterday, conceded 3 goals. I mean, if you're going going to outscore a game by 9 points, you're doing well. Now, they did still come back, expend a lot of energy. And once those goals went in today, and plus the opportunities was coming, even when Derry had the purple patch at the start of the second half, they had the 3 points. There was a glimmer. McCambridge, remember, had that fisted one. I mean, that should have been another goal. So, like, right there, you haven't learned. And if Armagh wanted, they could go up at any stage and get in behind the defence. And, you know, I just thought that, as you said, every modern team now, spread of scores is the key. You know, can you conjure up some goal opportunities? Are you defensively set sound? Have you got, like, physical presence around the midfield? So, like, as we're saying, no more than after Ulster final, like, Armagh ticked so many boxes in the performance against Donegal that it came down to a sudden death panel. So I thought a lot of the talk about that was out of order, because if a team had an issue in it, it would happen during the game that, you know, you were outplayed or, you know, you weren't able to get across the line of the game. But it came down, like, Armagh don't have the right to boss Donegal, the right to boss the likes of Derry last year, but they weren't bossed themselves, you know what I mean? It didn't come down to any really in-game. People might say, oh, they had the game they want, but sure, how many teams that are close enough set, a team goes 3 or 4 up? I mean, they happened nearly to Tyrone the game before, they went 3 up. So I didn't think in many ways Armagh, in terms of particularly say that Ulster final, their kick-out strategy, their dispossessing game and their forward play was all pretty good. It just came down to them tiny margins. So I thought it was out of order, people questioning mentality. I think you think a lot of it is, say, when it comes down to penalties, I don't know if you can fault any team for that. So I thought going into this series that Armagh, as I say, had so many plus points to their squad. And all you want is everybody to be fit and in there. So, listen, the majority of your team is. And, you know, I think people were saying after last week's game, who wants to play the likes of Donegal? I mean, after that performance, who wants to play Armagh? Now, again, I'll take the only word of caution would be Derry were really poor. Yeah. So I think straight away it'd be reset for Armagh. No more than, you know, Tyrone, I think, faded out in Donegal last week and down there was beaten by Cork. So I think as good as Armagh played today, Derry were lacking a lot of energy and a lot of belief. So in many ways it was an easy game for Armagh, but certainly a great confidence builder.
And just before I let you go, Brennan, how far do you see Armagh going here? What's their ceiling? Is it an All-Ireland semi-final? Do you see them going any further than that? Or do you see them getting there? I know a few injuries there. Kieran Mackin, I think, has done his cruciate, so he's out for the year. Andrew Murnan, not sure what, obviously picked up a knock too, so they're going to be missing out for a while. How do you see Armagh's season going for the rest of the campaign?
Yeah, well, I think next week's important. You know, you've seen obviously Westmeath, it was a late goal. Galway got today. I just seen a wee clip, somebody sent a message in there. So that'll be sticky now in terms of that's what's coming up next. Have I got that the wrong way around? Sorry. Your last game. Galway, sorry. What am I talking about, Westmeath? I'm sorry, they got a late goal to beat Westmeath, so I'm just saying, sorry, there's a lot of games going on in the head here, sorry. So I'll not put them, you already beat Westmeath, sorry. But I'm just saying, Galway, you know, listen, obviously only getting across the line against Westmeath today, so I don't think Galway or anyone, because they have a couple of injuries, I think Finnery and Comer and that were missing today. So if you can't cope with people missing now, that's going back to that squad that Armagh have. There's so much ability in the squad, so if you do pick up an odd knock or somebody's not on it, you've got loads of opportunities, and as the game opens up, that's where you want people coming on. So yeah, where they go, I suppose, depends on the draw. If they top the group and avoid a couple of bigger teams, you would think that a semi-final is definitely there. And once you're there at Croke Park, sure, why not? You know, could it be one of those stories where even through all the heartbreak, something amazing happens? I mean, if Armagh were even to make a final this year, I think it would be absolutely massive for the team and for the county, and you know, it would go some way to erase some of the tough memories of the likes of Clones earlier in the summer.
Good stuff, Brendan. Thank you. Cahair, a big win for Armagh here in Celtic Park. I don't think many people have seen this coming, especially the distance between the teams at the end of the game. Just sum up your thoughts. What did you make of it?
No, nobody saw the margin of it or the nature of it coming, I don't think. I think we expected a reaction from Derry to the two defeats in here in Celtic Park against Donegal and then down in Galway. And I mean, the body language in Derry's first half, it was very clear from the minute Oisín Connolly went through and hit the bar, and they got their let off at that point. But even on that chance, I mean, they were so open, and the first half just continued in that vein, and so the game was over at half time. There were 8 points in it, and Armagh were cruising out the gate by then, and Derry were just all over the shop, really. Like it's Armagh put them to the sword. They took their opportunity that they were presented really, really well, and they were ruthless in many ways. But I think it's nearly the most damning thing about Derry's performance that we don't actually know how much it enhances Armagh's credentials, because Derry were so far off it that you don't even know, how good did Armagh actually have to be. Like, they were running into open space and walking goals in the first half. So, I think you could safely say that Derry's chances of winning All Ireland are well and truly over at this point. There's no coming back from that in terms of anything later in the summer. They might scrape through a game or two, get through a preliminary quarter final, but it's very, very, very difficult to see how that turns for them. And for Armagh, there was a bit of ruthlessness there. They'll take a whole lot out of it, but there'll be a whole lot tougher to come for them as well.
I think in the last few years, Derry deservedly got a lot of praise that they attacked with 15 men and everybody come up the field, but that's where the goals come out of the day. Them first two, Derry pushed everybody up the field, they get turned over, and Armagh go on the break, and suddenly it's a 5v2 or whatever it is. So that's the setup, and that's I suppose Derry didn't learn from the goals that they conceded the last few games. I think that's nine in 3 games.
Yeah, and in fairness, the Donegal game here, we saw the harm that was done off the Donegal kick out. The day it was turnovers, it was those balls being ripped, and you're right, 15 men up, you can't. And Donegal found to their failure in Cork yesterday as well. You just can't turn that ball over. You can't be caught with that man down, and you can't be caught with that man turned over on the ball. You can't be turned over like that high up the pitch. But I think what you said there kind of sums it up as well. It was 4v2, 5v2, 5v3. Armagh's energy in getting up and support compared to Derry's energy to get back to support were just night and day. Derry had zero energy, and again, their body language, they were just, it is actually hard to believe just how far off they were in that first half. They were just, and then Armagh just cut through them in waves and could have had 4, 5, 6 goals. And that goes back to, what do you learn from it? You learn that you can't give the ball away like that. But the body language is on the floor for Derry, and that's a really worrying sign.
I suppose Cahair, the start of the second half, Derry came out and got three points straight away. Glass kicked a big one, and you just felt maybe there was going to be a fight in them. But I suppose an interesting thing I was sort of thinking coming into this game was maybe the Glen boys, and they've been on the road 2 years now really, and Derry, maybe the hype and the pressure that come off the league, it's maybe very hard for them boys to raise themselves so much and so often. Is it tiredness, do you think, or what do you put it down to?
I don't think so. I don't know. Obviously, Kieran McFall didn't start today, get injured, and then came on and got sent off. So you only have Conor Glass and Ethan Doherty in that bracket. I thought Ethan Doherty was still Derry's best player in the first half, and it was kind of symptomatic then that his performance kind of collapsed in the second half. He dropped the shots short, he got pinged for touching the ball on the ground, he did things that he doesn't normally do, and that kind of summed up where I was at as well. But you say about the first 3 points of the second half, it did look like a wee bit of a spark and a bit of annoyance out of them that was said to them, and then Armagh just steadied up and got the third goal fairly quickly after that. And then the game was over at half time anyway. You knew Derry weren't coming back from 8 points down, barring, if Derry had come back from 8 points down, I don't know what Armagh how they would have recovered from that. But in fairness, Armagh dealt with it fairly well. But I don't know that it's I don't know. I don't know that you can blame tiredness on that performance. It was just so far off on so many levels, and why it was so far off. Why in the first half of a game, when the game is very much live and you're a point down, 2 points down, 3, 4, after 20 minutes, sure, they're all so salvageable, but Derry's body language and their energy were just galaxies off. They weren't even miles off. They were just so far off where they've been, and those turnovers and getting caught in those breaks, it's really, really hard to analyse as soon after it, because it was so far beyond the realm of what you expected that you don't even know what to make of it. Like, they were so far off. And I say, like, we're focusing so much on Derry because we didn't expect it from them. Armagh punished them. We thought Armagh had a lot of brilliant performances from a lot of fellas who, you know, wouldn't be the biggest names. Ben Crilly, Tiernan Kelly, Barry McCambridge did well, and McGuigan. I'm just thinking of Connady again. Like, I've been impressed with him all year. I thought he was really, really good. And for Derry, Jeremy Baker ferried a lot of ball and did well on the ball. Beyond that, there's probably nobody.
And you said, Cahair, about we don't really know maybe where Armagh are after this. Obviously confidence and everything will be high, but just before I let you go, the group's going to finish now in 2 weeks, and it's Armagh and Galway for a top of the table clash, and Westmeath and Derry for a chance to stay in the competition basically. So how do you see it all panning out in 2 weeks' time? Who do you see topping the group and who do you see crashing out?
Yeah, it's hard. Like, I suppose last year the game in Carrick and Shannon, and Armagh did well to squeeze out of it, but factors in that as well, and Sean Kelly got off injured that day, and it was a great win for Armagh. It was a far, you know, it's probably a bigger win for Armagh that day than it is today in many ways because of the nature of that game. This is a game where I say they'll have really enjoyed and they'll take a lot out of, and they did really, really well, but just the level of what Derry brought, you can't expect Galway to bring that again next week. And then it just depends. Like, you Comer going off injured against Derry, you had Finnerty going off injured against Derry, Sean Kelly didn't look particularly comfortable going off in injury time either. If 1, 2 or 3 of those aren't fit, definitely swings in Armagh's favour again, because Galway are a team that when everybody's fit, I think they're the second best team in the country behind Dublin. But when they lose those 2 or 3 or 4, they're massive players for them, like, and they've really struggled without them. So it depends on that. But you probably, if Comer's not fit, you probably fancy Armagh on the way they're going at the minute. And so then you're top of the group, but they topped the group last year, right in the All-Ireland quarter-final against Monaghan. So they'll be targeting whatever way they get there. They'll be targeting an All-Ireland quarter-final now, making sure that they don't get caught again.
Good stuff, Cahair. Good man, thank you.
No bother.
Harlan's through, he might go for it, still going, trying to barge his way through, goes to the shot, what a goal!
Arriving Rian O'Neill from an almost impossible angle, and that's the rousing score Armagh were looking for.
Connor Turbin kicks this one in on an absolutely superb